Where in the Folk is not and should not be viewed as a news source. Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are purely fictional, and any information discussed is purely speculative. Guest opinions are their own and do not reflect those of anyone else. Where in the Folk is not responsible for content accuracy of any stories that are told or what people do with these stories. This show is vulgar, sometimes graphic, and due to its content, it should not be viewed by anyone, actually.
Welcome to another episode of Where in the Folk. I hope everybody's had a great week. Great week. How's your week been?
Rough.
Yeah.
It's been pretty rough.
My week was rough, and then it accumulated into a horrible day today. But
hey, Landa.
It is what it is. I haven't got any new fast food stories. Everybody's been pretty straightforward on it. I went to Wendy's today, got me a double stack. You know, it was delicious.
They still make double stacks?
Oh hell yeah!
I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But anyway, as you can see, Morgana's not here tonight. She will be back next week. And later tonight, Weird Awakenings is having a free-for-all session. So everybody should come on over there. It's got to be a free-for-all session because Morgana's not there to wrangle you all in, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get started with the Friday Feel Good. What Tully does his thing right there and close it out, all his porn browsers.
There ain't enough time for that.
Reportedly, a woman demanded to be let off a Southwest flight when the plane was taxiing down the runway. Ooh, another plane one. At the time, the woman was fully dressed, so I can see where this is already going. Can you all?
Yeah.
So a woman on the Southwest Airlines plane forced the flight to return to the gate after she started undressing and yelling in front of other passengers, including children. The reported NBC affiliate KPNX reports. She also harassed the flight attendants and pounded on the cockpit door. You like how I said that? The flight from Houston. The flight from Houston was bound for Phoenix, according to reports. The passenger initially walked towards the front of the cabin and demanded that she be let off the flight now, while the plane was still taxiing. As the plane continued moving, she started just getting butt naked. A video of the incident has made its way onto social media. I never get to see the cool videos like that.
Oh, I'm sure we could find something in probably.
My algorithm's fucked up. It's always just like, in 1967, blah 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 happened. But anyway. So the video, which showed the stark naked woman yelling at the top of her voice while walking up and down the aisles, ignoring all passengers. A passenger reportedly told the outlet it was very uncomfortable and really scary. Yeah, I can see that. I can see scary for sure. Another one shared, I do remember her saying she wanted to get off the flight. And she started like jumping up and down, screaming at the top of her lungs. She was fucking crazy, bro. But another flyer told the outlet, I was shocked. It was so shocking that it came as a complete surprise to everybody. They also went on to say it was very evident that she was having a mental breakdown. No shit. The flyer continued to say, she put her whole body onto the woman flight attendant and was rubbing all over her. It was totally nuts. And Houston Police Department spokesperson told the outlet that the woman was detained after her stunt. Well, I would hope so. Eventually, she was taken to the hospital for a little evaluation. At the time, the spokesperson said the woman will not face any charges. How? If you let a fart on a plane, you get kicked off.
If you go to jail if you hit your vape, but you can get naked in front of everybody and be fine.
All right. So the local law enforcement on Monday afternoon said after it returned to the gate because of the customer's situation on board, we've reached out to the customers to apologize for the delay and appreciate their patience as our teams worked to get them to their destinations as quickly as possible, the airline told the news outlet in a statement. So this is weird. Maybe she was a scared flyer and had got a little prescription beforehand, And
Yeah, it had to be something like that where you're kind of discombobulated.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do one day. One day I'm gonna have my mental break. I'm gonna be gone for like 4 or 5 days, and they're gonna find me at Walmart butt naked, like in the peanut butter aisle, rubbing peanut butter on myself or something. I can see that happening very soon. Like, it'd be like a Breaking Bad situation, except I won't be off in the woods cooking meth. I'll be out exploring the world.
Yeah.
But that was a good Friday. Feel good, Tully. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, the next one I thought was kind of crazy. So in India, Stephen said that's a mental picture. In India, they have a huge bathing festival, and it's called the Mahakumbh Mela. And it concluded this week after dozens of fatalities and sewage in the river that they were bathing in. So it says that their mass bathing festival concluded. Dramatic drone footage showed worshipers taking their final ritual bath on Wednesday. Well, I guess this would have been last week, but it was in the news this week. Taking their final ritual bath on the 26th, wrapping up the 6-week festival. Authorities say that over the last 45 days, more than 620 people attended the event to take the holy dip in the sacred river in Uttar Pradesh. The festival is a major Hindu pilgrimage festival held every 12 years where millions of devotees and tourists gather to bathe in the river, believing that it cleanses sins and grants salvation. This comes despite a recent report that the Central Pollution Control Board stated that some parts of the river failed to meet water quality standards for bathing due to high fecal coliform levels. And fecal coliform is a group of bacteria found in the intestines of humans and animals. The presence in water suggests contaminations from human or animal waste, and 2 separate incidents of chaos have also led to dozens of deaths and injuries, while tragically on the evening of February 15th, thousands of devotees flocking to the festival caused a stampede that killed at least 20 people on a railway in New Delhi. But officials said that 14 women and 4 children died when the crowds tried to board packed carriages heading to the event. And earlier on January 29th, millions had gathered for a holy dip when disorder broke out at 1:30 in the morning. Police confirmed that at least 30 devotees were killed and 60 injured. So there's like hundreds of people killed trying to go take a dip in this river.
That's a tragedy for sure. But I mean, 620 million people in the course of a 45-day span. If you put 620 million people in a room for 45 days, what's the chances, you would have the same death rate? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's horrible. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know why my mom went there. That's weird. But no, that's awful. There's a rapper that I really like, Hunanman Khan.
I don't know who that is.
He's an Indian rapper from India. And there's a line in a song where he says, "When I die, burn my body and pour my ashes in the river, y'all." I don't think he wants to go in this river.
True.
No.
What's the other? Stephen would know the name of this. The other river that everybody wants to go dipping in. That's supposed to be super unsanitary. People drink from it, and there's like human remains and stuff in the water.
I mean, it's India. India, has overpopulation. From my understanding, they have, I only know, like a 1 point something billion, probably up to 2 now. What is India's population? India
Lots.
population, huh?
Lots.
Let's see, 1.46 billion, which is a pretty big landmass, but they're not all, like, the majority of them are around epicenters, I'd imagine. And it's really hard to, I don't know if they've cleaned up their pollution, but I've seen pictures, of within the last 5 years where the pollution looks pretty out of control, like garbage everywhere and things like this, and rivers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I say it would be hard to find anywhere that's clean. I don't know where my mind's going with that. But
No, I hear what you're saying.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm just sorry people had to die for that. But you'll sacrifice yourself for what you love,
Yeah. What's up, Wolfman?
What up? What up, Leander?
It's just the two OGs to not
Yeah.
talk crazy stuff. One thing that I threw on here for tonight, anybody on the East Coast knows what Kroger is. It's a grocery store, and they had a massive shakeup this week as the CEO suddenly resigned after being investigated for personal misconduct.
Ooh.
They said that he was violating their ethics business policy.
What? A CEO violating ethics business policy? I am Macaulay Culkin.
So what's weird about this, so Kroger just lost a 2-year takeover bid for their rival Albertsons, and is currently being sued by Albertsons. Sales have slowed as inflation's went up. They're finally admitting that, by the way. They said that since March 2020, supermarkets have went up an average of 27%. They're admitting that openly now.
Yeah. Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us that.
Yeah. So just hours after Kroger announced that this guy resigned over misconduct, Albertsons CEO also announced that he was going to retire on May 1st. So it's kind of weird that both CEOs of both companies in a failed takeover attempt resign at the same time, just in different ways.
And they'll probably, the funniest thing is the way that this happens, anytime that CEOs get removed or resign, they always go to another company. Will it not be hysterical when the CEO from Kroger goes to Albertsons and the one from Albertsons goes to Kroger?
It's like that. It's like that dillweed from Chipotle.
Yeah.
He moved from Chipotle to Starbucks, and people have completely forgot about that. Like that dude is the biggest douche theoretically on the planet. One of them, anyway.
For sure.
Landa said they're hooking up.
Probably.
Yeah. So another thing that came out about Kroger recently, and you'll notice this if you shop around like Walmart, Kroger, Meijer, and all of the other ones, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
But apparently Kroger has started charging premium pricing for what they're calling convenience items. So a good example of this was mustard. Mustard was like $2 more at Kroger than it was at Walmart.
Dude, ketchup. It might be down now. But you buy a bottle of ketchup like once every 3 years, probably.
Yeah.
And we went to buy one because we had ran out of our decade-old ketchup bottle, and it was like $8 for a thing of ketchup. I was like, what happened here? That was insane to me.
That's how I was with the pop. I looked again. I go grocery shopping usually Thursdays. I looked again last night. The quote unquote deal is two, the little mini cans.
Yeah.
You can get 2 6-packs of the mini cans of Coke for $10. And the full size cans was like a 12-pack was $10.99 yesterday, and it was on sale.
Nice. Which, I mean, speaking from experience, you should probably quit drinking pop. Everybody who's listening, because it has FUCT me up. I'm over the pop. I don't think I can drink anymore ever again.
Yeah, pop is crazy, Wolfman. I haven't drank pop in a long time, like to the point where I bought it. Rachel will get pop sometimes just to mix on the weekends, like if she wants a whiskey Coke or something. But otherwise, I remember like my mom and dad buying it, and you like the sales were like 2 for $5, 2 12-packs for $5.
Fago used to be $2 for a 12-pack. I used to ride around with 12 packs lodged in my trunk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they still. Well, someone said the sign in Manchester that the IGA isn't an IGA anymore.
I don't know. I haven't been over there.
That they rebranded it, but there used to be a Fago machine at that IGA where you could get any flavor for a quarter.
Quarter pop, yeah, I remember that. Spent many risky nights driving to town to get a quarter pop out of the Fago machine.
Well, and of course, I wouldn't know this firsthand, but some people say that that you could reach your hand up in there and get them too.
Good. You actually could. What we used to do, we'd take our hand up there and just like smack it back and forth, and like 3 or 4 would fall out.
That's crazy, Wolfman. That's what it was. That all the IGAs are rebranded into the market.
The market.
They're trying to be suave.
Come on down to the market where you can get all your wholesome foods.
So I have a crazy update about the Diddy situation.
Did he do it?
He did. Allegedly. So this is wild. His lawyer quits.
Oh yeah.
So his lawyer quit the sex trafficking case, and he said that under no circumstances can I continue. And I think what's important here, Anthony Rico, which is the lawyer in question, he served as a counsel on the World Trade Center bombing conspiracy cases for Omar Abdel Rahman and Osama bin Laden. And in 2001, this man defended Osama bin Laden, saying that the terrorist shouldn't be prosecuted because he was unable to defend himself properly because he wasn't in the U.S. This same man that defended Osama bin Laden is saying that the case with Diddy is too crazy for him to represent him. Now, as an attorney, like as yourself, how do you justify that? Like, are you saying that Sean's atrocities is worse than bin Laden's? They probably are. Yeah, it is sad. But yeah, he apparently fought really hard to defend bin Laden back then. And the same lawyer is saying that he just can't, he doesn't want to divulge any information protected by attorney-client privilege, and he knows something that's bad enough to where he doesn't want to be his attorney anymore.
That's insane. That is truly nuts. I don't know what it could be. And by the way, I'm not expecting an important phone call, but any second an important phone call could come through. Fuck you, telemarketers. Because I just got one. I was like, who the fuck is this? But it's really on telling. It's really hard to say. Like, I mean, the allegations that's against him are pretty rough.
Yeah. Orlando has a point. Maybe, I mean, Osama wasn't here to defend himself, so maybe he couldn't incriminate himself either.
True.
When, Diddy could be talking about diddling.
We was watching the Chappelle show the other day whenever he would make fun of that TV show that Diddy had, Making the Band. That to go back and rewatch that, it's got a different vibe to it now. It's a little weird.
Oh, I'm sure. Like if Cat Williams knew about it, I'm sure that Chappelle knew about it too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Trying to look and see what some more hot topics. Oh, we got to cover that cult because I put it in the title again.
Cool.
So, an alleged leader there's a new cult. It's called the Zizian cult.
I've actually heard of them. Yeah.
And it's been linked to 6 deaths so far. The leader was arrested in Maryland. Now this is completely serious. So some of it's going to sound ridiculous, but just bear with us. 3 alleged members of the cult of radical vegans linked to at least 6 deaths across the United States have been arrested. Court documents shows that Z's, a 34-year-old computer scientist known in court records by the legal name Jack Lasoda, was detained on misdemeanor charges in an Allegheny County. I was detained in Allegheny County. It would have been almost 2 weeks ago now, but it says that Z's is a key member and the namesake of a mysterious group of mostly transgender and non-binary people known as the Zizians, whose members have been tied to murder cases so far in California, Pennsylvania, and Vermont. Also arrested in Maryland was Michelle Jamie Zacco, 32, who is a person of interest in the Vermont shooting and the Pennsylvania shooting, and Daniel Blank, 26. The charges listed for Z's were trespass, obstruction, and possession of a firearm. For Zacco, trespass, obstruction, resisting, and interfering with an arrest for Blank, and trespass and obstruction for the other folks, or for, I guess, Michelle. Allegheny County Jail official Elizabeth Shoemake told news that the pair were arrested for on-site activity rather than the outstanding warrant that they had. The FBI is involved, officials confirmed, and the investigation is fluid and ongoing. This is the latest twist in a bizarre saga that began in San Francisco in 2016. Z's, who expounded, let's see. So I guess this person has been posting about their philosophy they've created a small group of anarchist leading rationalist vegans who accuse the rest of the community of undervaluing animal rights and welfare. In 2019, Z's and 3 friends attempted a nonviolent protest outside of a think tank where they were met with a SWAT team and felony charges. At that point, Z's would later allege that they were abused in police custody. This is a quote, "I will never be able to trust society, even in limited respect, like trusting cops not to torture you for literally doing nothing."
Fair enough.
But rationalist detractors, so people who have left the cult, describe Z's as a highly manipulative cult leader, while their supporters say they had been unfairly demonized and ostracized for speaking out against the abuse within the community. And amid the legal troubles, Z's reportedly faked their death in 2022. Let's see. While several of the groups stopped paying rent at their home in a trailer yard in Vallejo, California, that led in November 2022 to a deadly confrontation with their landlord, Curtis Lind, which left Z's friend Emma Borhanian dead, shot by Lind in alleged self-defense, and Lind himself in the hospital stabbed by a samurai sword.
Jesus Christ.
Prosecutors charged 2 other members of the cult who had been living there with Borhanian's murder, alleging that they had started the fight and therefore were responsible for its consequences. After that, Z's and their remaining associates seem to have dropped off the map, but since then, connections have continued to emerge in the criminal cases. In Pennsylvania on New Year's Eve 2022, Zacho's parents were killed in their home by a gunshot to the head. Police believe that Zacho's gun might have been involved and detained her at a Pennsylvania hotel. But when they checked another room in the same hotel, whose occupant Zacho had asked them to alert to her custody, they found Z's alive and well back from the dead, albeit uncooperative, along with Daniel Blank. Then in California, this past January, Curtis Lynn was killed by gunfire in a black mask wielding a knife. So he was trying to maybe rob somebody, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick. But authorities arrested and charged 22-year-old Oxford graduate Maximilian Snyder, who denied being a friend of Z's with his murder. I'm not one of Z's friends, and neither they or their friends endorse me or my words. So far as I know, I speak only for myself, said Snyder in a letter dictated from prison, in which he urged other rationalists to stop eating meat immediately. That's the priority here, not killing people. And in Vermont, the same month, a border agent, David Mayland, and a young rationalist named Ophelia Bachholt were killed in a shootout over a traffic stop. According to prosecutors and news reports, Bachholt was traveling in a Toyota Prius with another 21-year-old known in court documents. This gets really weird with the names. So this person's name was Milo, but in the court documents, it's Teresa. And when they were stopped, that's when they were stopped by the border agents. But prosecutors alleged that young Bolt then got out of the car and opened fire on border officers without provocation. Reports indicate that young Bolt had been reported missing by their parents about a year ago, and that they had recently applied for a marriage license with Snyder. Zacho, meanwhile, was named a person of interest in the case, reportedly because investigators suspect that one of the guns carried by Bachholt and Young Bolt, I'm butchering names, was bought by her. A police bulletin described Zacho as armed and dangerous and said she followed anti-law enforcement ideology. The exact nature of the connections between all these people and cases remain uncertain. But apparently the FBI and the police are all involved in trying to figure out what's going on with this vegan cult.
Well, it sounds like they might be lacking protein.
It's a lot going on, dude. That's a lot going on. They're lacking a lot.
I mean, I don't understand like where you could be so disconnected from reality that you think eating meat is the worst thing in the world, but it's totally cool to murder people. Like,
yeah. It's well, it sounds like this is an echo chamber. So they're part of some like blog group of like revolutionaries, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a subgroup of those revolutionaries who think that they're more revolutionist than the others.
I'm totally down with defrauding the government any way you can. Like if you can get by with it, do it. But the murder,
Cecil's joking.
I'm joking.
He's joking. He's totally joking. Nobody should ever do that.
I'm allegedly down with it. But I mean, like the murder and stuff, just leave it out. Why can't there ever be like a decent cult, like a cult that just likes to get together and play soccer on Saturdays or something?
Because the government ain't got involved in that in a while.
That's true. I don't know, man. I thought the days of the cult were over. I thought people were too lazy to join cults anymore. I guess I'm
apparently wrong. It's keyboard only.
Keyboard only.
Keyboard cults.
Huh. Neat.
So yeah, we said we were going to cover that this week. We covered it. The other thing that we said we were going to cover are a new article about forever chemicals. Sweet. So apparently Apple is being sued now over forever chemicals in their watch bands. So it says a new lawsuit has been filed in the North District of California against Apple regarding fluoroelastomer. I'm sure I'm butchering that too. But
fluoroelastomer, sure. I know.
These bands are the default sport bands the Ocean Band and the Nike Sports Band. The lawsuit alleges that the bans include PFAS, which are forever chemicals. Health Canada said these chemicals are sometimes also found in cosmetics, electronics, sunscreen, but usually it's plastics, rubbers.
Yeah.
But, we've talked about PFAS in ad nauseum in the past, but the lawsuit is based on the study from the scientists, University of Notre Dame, which claims that nearly all smartwatch and fitness tracker devices that use sweat-resistant rubber contain harmful chemicals that can cause issue with prolonged exposure. So, of course, targeting people who are trying to stay healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Apple issued the statement saying that Apple Watch bands are safe for users to wear. In addition to our own testing, we are working with independent laboratories to conduct rigorous testing and analysis of the materials used in our products.
I'm glad that the watch band I bought was a $12 one that started to rust. I know it's old school. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't play around. Give me metal that's going to rust off my wrist.
Yeah, I feel like everything's got PFAS these days, except for Tupperware.
Yeah,
because that's where it kind of started.
Yeah, hell, it might.
Dude, anything. I feel sorry for these people that work in the factories in China, because anything coming out of China that's rubber is probably going to have PFAS, and you can imagine like the people working in those factories are probably doomed.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a weird world we're living in. I think you done my time for me. You shouldn't have done that, sir, but I appreciate it. But the aftermath of a devastating 2010 earthquake, what do you want to talk about with that?
You can hit it.
Well, let me put my spectacles on so I can seize. Let's see.
It's just more mismanaged government money is what it amounts to.
Yeah. So, the aftermath of a devastating 2010 earthquake in Haiti saw an unprecedented
there you go.
influx of aid, particularly from the United States Agency for International Development. You said. But
you said.
You said. But which funneled around the astonishing $4.4 billion into the region. Just give me like a bit give me the 0.1. Let's do that.
Yeah.
However, a staggering report surfaced revealing that less than 2% of the funding actually reached the Haitian people. What? Wow, no joke. Instead, a significant portion, 56%, was allocated to Washington, D.C. firms raising serious questions about transparency and accountability in foreign aid distribution. This is solely why I don't donate $1 anymore.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't round up. I don't donate.
No.
It's all just a big circle.
Give me back my 4 cents. I'll do something better with it.
Yes.
One of the most striking claims associated with the aid efforts was made by Red Cross, which asserted that it provided shelter for approximately 130,000 individuals that were in fact affected by the earthquake. Despite this bold declaration, the investigation revealed that only 6 homes were constructed under the initiative. Oh my God. So 130,000 people in 6 houses. That sounds like a great time. The discrepancy has sparked outrage and disbelief, further compounding criticism against the organizations that handle humanitarian aid in crisis situations. You said Haiti scandal is I can't say that word. I don't know how to say that word.
I don't know where you're at.
Emblematic.
Emblematic.
The scandals are emblematic of larger issues faced in the humanitarian efforts worldwide. Critics argue that the lack of transparency and accountability mechanisms allow for mismanagement of funds, leading to minimal impact on the intended beneficiaries. Well, no shit. The scandal highlights the urgent need for reform in how international aid is managed and distributed, ensuring that the funds reach the communities that are meant to help.
Stephen brought up a good point. I do remember former presidents begging for money for Haiti, actually.
Yeah, it was everywhere, and I probably donated some money to it. I'm sure, at some point I've donated a few dollars.
The only thing that, and I don't even know if I fully support this, but at the time, you remember like all the churches, like all the churches were doing, what do they call it? Where they went there. I forget what they call it. There's a word for it, but they all went to Haiti and helped with relief. Yeah. I definitely support like boots on the ground help.
I do too. Like the Peace Corps, I'm fully behind that because they actually go places, they do things, they help out, they build water irrigations, they help people get power, things like this. They actually do stuff. But the biggest issue with the donation, there's a reason that people that make $120,000 a year or even $300,000 a year for 20 years has $100 million in the bank. And this right here is the reason.
Yeah.
Things like this. It's ridiculous. It's despicable.
Yeah. This is how they're all getting rich, and it's not partisan. This is a bipartisan issue. But it's becoming political. And I think that's what they're trying to do, is make it political so nothing gets done about it.
Yeah. So when you think about humanitarian aid, you probably imagine well-meaning organizations working hard to help these. Unfortunately, the reality can be a lot different. As seen in this aftermath, the U.S. government asserts a staggering $4.4 billion in aid to help the nation, yet only 2% of this actually reached the Haitian people, including an overwhelming 56% that ended up lining the firms in D.C. So $4.4 billion. So 56%, what is that? I don't know the math on that, but it's at least 2.2. That's half. Ended up just back in the pockets of law firms in Washington, D.C. That's insane to me. That's nuts. Like, go ahead and give us $5 billion. It's going to take us $4 billion to figure out what we're going to do with that $1 billion, but we'll get it out.
And back then, stuff kind of stuck in the news cycle for a while.
Yeah,
stuff like, think about North Carolina. Think about not Haiti, Lord, Maui, and the California fires. Like the California fires were the most recent, and you won't see a headline about that if you go out and try to look for it.
Mm-mm.
So the news cycle back then wasn't as fast, so they had to keep being like, oh, we're still doing it. We're still doing it. And now it's like they can't, especially right now, they can't skim this money as fast. So you're not hearing these big pushes like continue for California and North Carolina, Tennessee, Maui, the people who are still homeless a year and a half later at Maui.
Oh. And you won't, because they're poor. They're poor Americans. And everybody's like, oh, we're always helping other countries, but the truth is we're not. We're helping people that's already rich get way more rich.
I'm glad you said that, because the that leads into another article where and this apparently was fact checked, but this goes to like funding both sides of the war. It came out this week that the European Union spent more on Russian oil and gas than financial aid to Ukraine. They paid Russia 22 billion pounds for fossil fuels, but only gave 19 billion to Ukraine.
And
that kind of reminds you of like World War II annex, where the financiers were both financing Germany and the United States simultaneously.
Yeah.
And it's just hedging their bets. They're going to make money either way.
I do understand that, the people that's allocating the funds, the people that handle it and determine the budget and the distribution need to be paid.
Yeah.
I fully get that. I 100% support paying the people that distribute these funds and things of this nature. But more than half, there's a show, there's a documentary on HBO called Telemarketers. Have you watched it? No. It's a really good watch. Have you ever received the call from the Fraternal Order of Police asking for donations?
I've not, but I've seen them out in the street asking for money.
Well, they used to call around asking for donations, and then they send you a sweet ass sticker that was supposed to deter the law from you if they got behind you, if you were speeding or something, to help you out, because it's for the Fraternal Order of Police. That's the way they would sell it. Come to find out, they had kids, like 16, 17-year-old kids up to, like 40-year-olds that were making these calls, and they were felons. Some of them, most of them. They were making good commissions, which is fine, However, the owners of the company were pocketing around 80%. I could be wrong on the digit, but very little of that was going to the Fraternal Order of Police. And they would always put it they would always frame it like this is going to go to support the loss of the family of this officer that passed away.
Yeah.
And in this documentary, like, they were using one name specifically, like Officer so-and-so lost their life. This is a support to family. And they went and talked to the family, never received a dime of it.
Wow.
And so that's what's really horrible, is you cannot trust anything because of greed in this country. Like, you could totally get rich.
Not just this country.
Yeah, but
it's a global problem.
Yeah, you can totally get rich without taking too much. Like, okay, so let's say you collect $50 million and you skim $3 million off the top. You're rich.
Yep.
Let's move it up. Let's move it to $7 million. If you budget that right, invest it right, compound interest, you can live off that for the rest of your life.
Dude, it's just their spending goes up. Their spending slides up with that skim, though. Like, they gotta have the $1 million houses, which they're not paying for.
Yeah.
If you look into some of these governors and stuff, they get gifted. Like, they've been caught before, like selling a $2 million home for 20 grand to your buddy type thing.
Yeah. Kind of like Epstein got that one house in Manhattan for $1 or something like that.
Yeah. Exactly like that.
It's really despicable, because I mean, how much money do you need? Like, legitimately, there's enough to be comfortable. There's enough to be lavish. You can be lavish with $20 million. Why take 40? I guess
I'm with you.
I don't know. It pisses me off.
Thank you for joining our TED Talk.
Yeah, I guess we need to start wrapping up.
I think we're going to think of something to come back with tomorrow. It could be, I don't know. We'll let Landa pick. Landa, do you want us to talk about paranormal, true crime, cryptids, parapsychology, or just straight conspiracies tomorrow night?
All right.
And you can reply on this show or the next show. You can think about it.
Yeah. And tonight on Weird Awakenings is a free for all.
Yeah. So we're going to be going nuts here in about 15 minutes.
I might hop on, but I've got zero. Less than.
I've got even less than that. I do, in fact, though, have videos that we can react to.
That's perfect. Weird Awakenings comes on every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that's on the Weird Realities Network, weird with a Y. That's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. If you're watching us, you know where to see us. We're pretty much everywhere. I think we're we explore one more platform, and then we'll have all the power of Goku.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on BitChute, follow us. If you're watching on Rumble, follow us if you don't already. If you're watching on Twitter, follow us if you don't already. We've been getting a lot of followers on Twitter, actually.
I used to rep that John Cena follow us, but he turned heel.
Yeah, Stephen, we totally need a rant. We need a rant, and if you want to do Wearing the Folk tomorrow night, we can let you loose on there too.
I agree.
But
And if you want to be a guest, if you have a guest that you'd like for us to try to get, if you got any news articles you want us to cover, go ahead and email us at witf@gmx.com. And thank you, Easy Mac, for the advice you sent me about my health conditions.
oh yeah, Easy's been leaving some fire comments on Rumble too.
I can never see the comments on Rumble, and it's because I'm not logged in.
Oh yeah.
So
he always has good feedback and stuff. But I think what I want to do at some point soon is I'll redo this background and I'm going to put our email on there.
Cool. And so I guess we're going to do one tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Same place, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll do something. We'll talk shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Landa gets to decide.
I wish I would have had the cartoon conspiracies already reworked. Not this time, but next time, maybe.
Cool.
Hell, we might talk about some on the Weird Awakenings tonight because it is a free for all.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for watching us because we are watching you.